how to get better help when you're grieving. Here's one I prepared earlier. If you're not on YouTube, just imagine an iPad being held about 1 foot off our couch.
Waist high,
And a nice teal colour that represents good grief.
She didn't ask, she just came around, she just knew it'd be helpful, and it was. It was nutritious and delicious. Sounds like I'm on an ad right now, but it was memorable.
So this might be just a way to offer some support to somebody without asking a question. So if you're not the person grieving, you might just send this text. You might just say,
Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Good Grief. We are so glad you're here.
we are, because today is going to be a pretty cool episode talking about how to get better help when you're grieving, or
give it.
how to give help or give support.
Yeah, because we know we've got supporters listening to us.
Yep. And so we're actually going to be sharing from a guide that we created.
We did.
Based on feedback from everyone in our Facebook group. We hear a lot
We do.
from people joining.
Yeah, so
whenever,
much.
Whenever someone joins or we get a message, we're always taking note of what people are looking for more help and support with. And so we created a guide that you can actually get access to. It's called the Good Grief Support Prompts Guide. And for those of you on YouTube, you can...
It looks like this.
It looks like this. Here's one I prepared earlier. If you're not on YouTube and you're listening, just imagine an iPad being held about 1 foot off our couch and
About waist high,
and a nice teal colour that represents good grief.
the one you know well.
And 44 prompts. And when we say prompts, people might not know what those are.
So we've just given little written blurbs, texts, things you can use, statements, questions.
Literally as a text message.
Yeah, literally written as a text message that you can copy and paste or copy and edit slightly to
shoot off to a friend,
Yeah.
family member, whether you're the person grieving or whether you're the person supporting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whether you're asking for the support or offering the support, we've got both ways.
Yeah. Because often it's hard to ask for help, and I get it.
And some people don't know how to offer help or the right help.
Totally.
Yeah, or say the right thing. They're like,
So that's what we're going to
Don't know
go.
what would be helpful.
Yeah, we're going to share a few stories of how friends and family in our lives have helped us, and where some of these prompts were born out of. But if you want to just skip to the guide, literally below the show, wherever you're watching or listening from, there is a link that you can click that will take you straight to it. You can pop in your details and we'll send it straight to your email, and you can
easy as pie.
you can be shooting off a text to get some help by today.
To get some pie.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be to do that. Totally.
We know the Americans like their pie.
Yes. But before we jump in,
Yeah.
we've got an exciting week ahead. Do you know why? I've been waiting for this since
Yes.
since December.
I'm like, oh no, baby brain is kicking in. I don't know why. I should know why. Yes, it hit me.
I've been waiting for 2 months
You have. I booked us the tickets.
for the National Baby Expo.
Annual. National, annual, local,
Parent Baby
children.
Expo.
Yeah, PBC.
Yeah.
We got to remember what it stands for. Parent, Baby and Child
So
Expo.
in December we went for a little staycation.
/ baby moon.
2 nights away sort
Yeah.
of thing. And you'd done some research and found out that we were staying in Brisbane, and it just happened to be this Baby Expo on, and we just happened to be obviously pregnant. So why not combine a little staycation with a bit of
Expoing.
baby magic? And I just love an expo anyway.
Yeah,
So,
you do. You spent time in
yeah.
expos.
I was raised on expos with my
I thought you were going to
parents.
say I was raised in an expo.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we went to all sorts of different expos. My parents had booths and stalls at them, and then
And then you've been to China.
Yeah, and then in more recent years, started a business and went to China and manufactured, and then had our own expos and different things. So love an expo. So that's what
Loves it.
we're going to be doing this Saturday.
We're going to go get our pram, everyone.
Yes.
Amongst maybe some other things. But research, looking, and a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to get organised. We got 10 weeks.
It's a lot of fun looking around, seeing who's stressed and who's relaxed and who's getting the deal.
Yeah, we want to be first in the door. into all the competitions, maybe. No. Anyway, that's our weekend coming
yeah,
up.
so I'm excited.
Yeah.
In that, the lesson is it's great to have something to hope and look forward to. So
True.
that is a lesson that I wasn't prepared, I wasn't thinking about sharing today, but I know that in the last 11 years, having small things to look forward to have helped in my grieving process. So, you know, I can timestamp so many of them, whether it was just seeing a friend or going, like this morning, I was excited to get up and go for a walk. Very basic. But last night when I went to bed, I'm like, I'm looking forward to going and getting some sunshine, going for a walk tomorrow.
Did we get sunshine? We did.
Got a little bit.
Yeah, we did, actually, before. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be raining now, but it's not yet. We've had a lot of rain.
So the lesson,
Yeah.
small glimmers of hope and things in your future to look forward to help with the grieving process.
So good. I also think from the expo, another expo lesson coming to you.
Don't distract me. I'll go expo the whole episode. And we're gonna
Well,
we're gonna
I think
lose
it's
listeners.
I think it's a place to glean a lot of wisdom and help. You know, people are there wanting to help you with your child journey. Like, same with grief.
Nice.
It's good
segue.
to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. On that note, let's talk about
Do, do, do.
asking for help. We need a little help jingle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Few
we've got,
sound effects.
so we've got our guide here. There are 44 prompts in there. Once again, you can just literally go to the link below where you're listening to this or watching and download that. But we want to illustrate a couple of those points. And we've got a few stories that came to mind, in our grieving journey.
Yeah.
Where should we kick off?
Yeah, I'll start with me. I think I've said this before, like we were still quite a joyous family even through the whole ordeal. That's what my mum would have wanted. That's who we were as a family, kept it positive as much as we could, but obviously still grief hits you and all of that thing. Anyway, Ryan and I have this mutual family friend that we didn't know until we got married. And they were beautiful friends of my mum and dad, and older. And
They're still alive.
They're still alive. Yeah.
They are beautiful friends.
Oh, they are. Sorry. Yes. I mean, yes. We don't see them as often because mum's not around. But she just dropped off this beautiful meal, and it was healthy. She didn't ask. She just came around. She just knew it'd be helpful. And it was. And it was nutritious and delicious. Sounds like I'm on an ad right now, but it was memorable and it was so thoughtful. And I think she even...
And hopefully enough to feed all 5 of you.
Yeah. Maybe the boys had seconds. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure she gave us a big slab. So it was like a mince pie with sweet potato on top, and then melted cheese. So it was kind of like nacho pie, but different. Kind of like a cottage pie, but like sweet potato and mint and all these veggies. So it was very nutritious and very yum. And it was so thoughtful and delicious. It left an impression on me, and I asked her for the recipe, and I still to this day make different versions of that.
Yeah, so good. And the best part is no wonder it was good, because they've run a bed and breakfast for so many years. So they've cooked and entertained for so many people.
Yeah.
Anything that
they love
Sue
entertaining
makes
and
is just delicious.
Yeah.
So shout out Sue.
Shout out to Sue and Bob.
And Bob. Yeah, absolutely. Both of them. Yeah. So on that, when you're grieving, you got to eat.
Yeah.
And so if you are grieving, it's hard to think about meals. It's hard enough to think about meals to cook when you're not grieving, day in, day out, right? So it makes it even...
For some people, it just doesn't come naturally.
Yeah. So based on our prompts, what would be a nice simple prompt that we could share from the prompt guide? Do you want to share one?
Yeah, let me. Hey, friend's name, insert friend's name. So it could be me. Hey, Kaylee. Feeling a bit overwhelmed. Any chance you could lend a hand with some cooking or cleaning this week? Your support would mean a lot. Simple.
Yeah, really simple.
Yeah.
And, sending that to just a friend or a loved one, chances are they're just going to say yes.
Totally. I mean, they're probably already thinking,
what can I do?
what
How
could
can
I
I
do?
help?
How could I help them? I don't know what to offer.
Yeah.
So,
And it was actually cool, because I can understand some people might have some hesitation on sending that text. We were actually in our home church yesterday. So we run a home group here on Sunday, and we were watching the message of our pastor, and they're having this conversation about just witnessing to people. And when we overthink it, the gap gets further and further before taking the action. And so he prompted us to pull out our phone, find a friend that we want to know, come to meet Jesus, and send them a text and just say, Jesus loves you. And all of us that were sitting here in our lounge room felt the hesitation rise up of do I press send? Should I just think this out a bit? And we all hit send. And it's the same thing with these prompts. It's like, once we get them, typed up in the phone, just hit send. And you might send the same thing to maybe 3 different people.
yeah, because it might not suit someone that week. And they might be like, oh, sorry,
someone
I'm
might
busy,
say,
but...
I can cook. And the other person might say, I can come help clean.
Yeah.
And then you're away. And then the door's open to say, oh, this has been amazing.
And once you've done it once and you get a positive response, you're more likely to be able to do it again.
Yeah.
It'll make the next time easier.
Yeah. So there's a few responses there or a few messages for reaching out to help with cooking and cleaning. We've also got ones in here to help with just someone coming over to visit.
Yep.
As well as getting groceries. You might feel really trapped. I know for my mum, she couldn't visit the supermarket after Dad died. It was just way too many people, too many emotions, people that knew her. She was anxious.
Didn't want to get asked questions.
Yeah, bumping into people, the person at the checkout knowing her and asking.
It might trigger a memory for you to go to a certain place or do a certain thing.
So there's ones for getting help, getting the groceries, and I'll share a bunch more as we go. I think when preparing for this episode, a story that came up for me was when I was in a band, and we'd been in a band a few years before Dad died and a few years after, but we had a tour booked literally the week after Dad died. So he died on the 9th on Friday, and we had a tour maybe on the 17th, the week or so after. So we had all this stuff to prepare for our band, as well as a funeral and all of the other stuff that goes on. And people were asking, will I still do the tour? Will we cancel it? And I'm not one to cancel. So we went and we traveled. We got on a plane, which was hard to do. And we went and played these shows. And the very first show that we played had about 10 bands. It was like a festival of sorts. And I just openly shared the story, that's only a week old, of how we'd lost Dad and sort of how I was dealing with that. And
from stage,
yeah. And there's, a few hundred kids in the room and bands and so forth. After the show, I was in the car park, and the band that was headlining the bill, they're Australia's biggest metal band. Not Christian by any means. We were a Christian metal band. They weren't too fond of us and what we were about and the message we were bringing. And so we didn't have much relationship with them. And, we didn't feel like we got a good sense of anything when they were around us. And the singer of the band, he called me out in the car park and said, "Hey, Ryan, can I have a word with you alone?" And everyone was like, ooh, what's going to go down?
Yeah.
Because, previous to that, I'd been cornered by all sorts of gangs and bands and all sorts of stuff for our faith, because we were spreading a message of hope and love inside such a dark scene. So he pulled me aside, and I'm like, what's gonna happen here? And he just said to me, "Hey man, I didn't know that about your dad and what had happened. I'm really sorry. And I just want to let you know that I love you, And I was that's not what I was expecting. And from that moment on, it was just like that loss and the grief brought us together. We had completely different interests, views, beliefs, but this shared experience of grief brought us together. And so we exchanged numbers. And for years after, even after I was out of the band, he was out of his band, we were doing separate things, we'd just be able to check in on each other just with something small to see how each other was doing. He went through all sorts of things relationally, health-wise, all sorts of stuff. And so this next prompt is a simple way that you can check in on somebody despite not having too much in common.
Despite differences.
Yeah. And you
so
don't
nice.
necessarily have to ask to help them or to cook something or to do something. It can be quite simple. So this might be just a way to offer some support to somebody without asking a question. So if you're not the person grieving, you might just send this text. You might just say, hey, miss you, checking in to make sure everything's okay, even though it's not. I'm here for you and love you.
Simple. And I like that you're not offering or asking anything. You're just literally showing your support and love. And sometimes that just means the world. Sometimes that can just really change someone's day. And
Big time.
yeah.
And it's a way to hold space as well. In a world where we're not taught how to do that. It doesn't happen too often. And even just that fact of just saying, hey, making sure everything's okay, even though it's not, you know. And when you're grieving, you understand that that's how the balance lies.
And they might not respond, but it also kind of does open it up for them to respond.
That's
if
right.
if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they felt comfortable to.
Yeah.
So good. I also had a friend when we were organising Mum's celebration service, and Mum loved colour. She was vibrant, full of life, and so we had these. We asked everyone to dress in colour, not in black and white and traditional sort of things.
Even though we're in black and white now.
Oh yeah.
These days we're pretty neutral.
I need to find flattering things because, the bump can
Yes.
make different angles look not so good. So I'd had this idea to have all these colourful balloons hanging in the foyer. I think helium, and have strings with photos hanging on the bottom of them.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so my friend Lene, I think she was she working at the church at the time, or no, she was drafting, but anyway, she was involved in the church heavily anyway. Just a very helpful human being, thoughtful, and she was very close in our lives at the time, and just asked is there anything I can help with with the preparation? And I was like, I need to get these balloons from somewhere. I don't know, can't think. Got to do this and that and that. And she's like, okay, let me go organize it. Let me go pick it up. And she just did.
What an angel.
I don't know how it happened. It got there. It was there. She just
sorted
it, made things happen, and it was there. And it was it was such a relief. It was such a nice gesture to know that there's someone I could trust who knew the plan, just knew I could trust her to
get the job
execute
done.
it. Yeah. Yep. So very helpful for people who are wanting to support. Just offer to do things and do it and be that trustworthy person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So helpful.
So what might be a prompt?
So I've got one here that's, under offering to help. So we've got 4 here, but one of these says, hey, I'm heading to the shops. Would it be helpful if I picked up some groceries for you, the balloons for you, the whatever, the flyers, the things.
Yeah, whatever the thing is.
Whatever the thing is.
Yeah, so we've got a few different prompts there that you could offer different forms of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, from looking after the kids. You might just need an afternoon or a weekend away from your own kids.
Yeah. Do you need the dogs walked?
Totally.
Do you need your garden watered, lawn mowed? whatever it is.
Yeah.
Offer the thing, because then they can always say no, but it's easy for them to say yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can tell by these prompts, they're really simple. You know, and I think that's what we wanted to create when putting them together, because the last thing you want when you're grieving is like some complex thing to try and modify and edit and send. These are 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah. And they're also just everyday things that when you're grieving, grief brain
Makes the world
makes
of
it
difference.
hard to even fathom getting these things done. Or, yeah. So it's what everyone's thinking or wants to be able to think.
It's connecting the 2 points.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our goal.
Bridging the gap.
Totally. So again,
grief
if
gap.
you found these helpful, jump to the link below and you can grab all the 44 different prompts. We're not going to spend this whole episode going
Yes.
through them.
No, we're not.
But hopefully these ones alone have been helpful for you. And I think we all need that nudge as well. So this is us giving you a friendly nudge. In 2015, 3 years after Dad had died, my best friend Simon invited me to go on a adventure. I'd say a challenging adventure.
I'd say so.
Yeah, he and his father-in-law break all sorts of world records for great causes around the world. And many of those records are in really hostile environments, such as the snow or Antarctica.
Or open seas.
Yeah, or deserts.
Yeah.
They've done, a bunch of stuff in Antarctica, but while they, and like, for example, just to fill everyone in, like the fastest solo crossing unassisted of Antarctica, the furthest solo unassisted crossing of Antarctica, both held by Jeff, who's my friend Simon's father-in-law. When they train for these, they go to New Zealand, up in the back country of New Zealand, where no one is around and there is little help if you get in trouble. But they have since taken people with them on these training camps of sorts as experiences. And so he said, you should come. He didn't even ask. It was like, you should come. And
You should do this.
I kind of felt like, yeah, maybe this is a bit of a rite of passage after Dad's death to like test myself.
This would be good for you.
I had no idea what I was getting myself into. We're talking well below 0 Celsius up there. We make our way up, which is one of the hardest things I've done in my life. You're got a harness on with 2 sleds with all of your gear, food and supplies that you need to survive for the week up there. That was painstaking, but we made it. Only to set up our tent before a blizzard came through, like complete whiteout, cannot see your hand in front of your face. And we're in tents, in snow. Just crazy. Waiting for the weather to clear. We're waking up on like 2-hour shifts, yourself and your buddy, throughout the night to go out of the tent and dig out trenches to make sure that your tent didn't catch too much snow, collapse, and you die in the blizzard. Okay? This is the extremity.
No, thank you. Not for me.
I like shiver when the air conditioning's on.
Yeah.
Like, I feel the
How
cold.
did you survive?
It was quite the ride, but we're waiting for a clear day. And so I couldn't even tell what the surroundings were like up there because of the snow. And so we were in tents for a whole day until it cleared. And then it was a bluebird day, okay, which is a perfect day in the snow. And it was just like football fields of snow. Perfect. The objective while we're up there was to learn how to kite ski, which is a set of skis most people are familiar with, but with a kite that you're in a harness to that pulls you along with the wind. So like kite surfing, this is kite skiing. I'd never skied in my life or done anything kiting before. So I had 2 big skills to learn while only 3 years into my grief, feeling very helpless.
This is a great recipe.
Up on top of this mountain. Everybody else had either done kiting or skiing, so they're off and nowhere to be seen. So we're practicing, and I finally get the hang of this thing, and the wind is taking me down over the ranges, and you lose sight of people, and you've got a radio. And my kite goes down, and I'm, so far away from camp, and the sun's setting, and there's a storm front rolling in, and my kite's down, and I cannot get it up for the life of me. I'm tripping over my skis. I'm stuck in the snow. I'm angry. I'm frustrated.
Cold.
I'm cold. I'm tired. And I'm like, they've said if you get stuck, radio in and we'll help you. And they've got a ski-doo that they'll come and get you. I'm like, all right, this is my helpline. I'm going to call it in. So
this sounds good. After this, I'll get a hot chocolate.
I'll have a whiskey with the guys, and we'll reminisce.
Get in my sleeping bag.
And so I radio in, Ryan to base, like needing help, stuck, can't get the kite up, struggling to get back to camp, storm's rolling in. Simon radios in, base to Ryan, I'll be there in a sec, give me your coordinates. He comes and finds me. Hearing that sound of the skidoo coming over the mountain was just the best thing ever. And he gets to me, and I'm like, I can't get up. And he goes, all right, well, let's do it. And I'm just there wallowing. I'm like, I can't. I'm stuck. Like, I've tried. It's not working. All of these negative words are coming out of my mouth. Simon has always been my encourager and support from those early days in my grief. I mean, forever, but especially then. And he could see the potential that was there, and also that I was just wallowing. Like, I was ruminating in this and didn't want a solution. And after about a minute of me complaining on my ass in the snow, he said, "Get the F up off the ground now," and yelled at me. And he'd never yelled at me before until I was hopeless and helpless up in the snow against all odds. And it rattled my core to the bone. And guess what I did?
I bet you got up.
I got up, and I got up pretty quick.
You got up off that snow, and you got that kite, and
I popped the kite up in the air.
Skied your ass back to camp.
It was like a miracle happened, but it wasn't a miracle. It was my best mate giving me a solid nudge.
A little bit of tough love.
That I needed when I needed it most, to prove that I could do it. It was possible. I was able. I wasn't too tired. I could get through this. And I'll never forget that. I made my way back to camp, and I felt on top of the world. Like, physically, because I was up in the mountains on top of the world, but also just mentally, spiritually, everything else, because he'd given me that tough love. And I've used that myself with friends going through grief or challenging times now. It's a bit of tough love when it's needed most, especially if you know someone well enough. And so...
yeah, read the situation.
That's right.
Not everyone straight up.
And I don't swear at people when I do it either. Yeah. But in that context, I couldn't have been more grateful now in hindsight looking back at that.
Yeah.
Because there were so many lessons in it. And so these guides are some prompts that you can use to support others when they might just need a nudge.
Yeah.
Or ask for help yourself. And I'm so grateful for it.
Even if it's just like, hey, let's get out and go for a walk.
Totally.
Like, bit of tough love. Like, stop staying inside. It doesn't have to be mean or like
no.
really tough. Like,
no.
But, just, that nudge that they need. Yeah.
So shout out to Simon and all of our friends that have given us some tough love, but also gracious love and everything in between that spectrum.
Yeah. Support, brought the joy, whatever. Yeah.
Cool. This has been a great episode.
Yeah.
I'm excited because we only just released this guide
on Friday.
And we had 132 emails so far before the weekend come in from people saying, yep, I'd love a copy. So
whether it's for you or whether you want to share it around, get it.
Get it?
Get it. just get it now. Like, this is my tough love. Just press that link.
That's Kaylee's tough love for you. And on that note, we might wrap the episode. It's been awesome having you hang out with us today, whether it's your first time or your 20th time. I don't know what episode we're up to.
Neither do I.
We love you, and we're here every step of the journey with you as we grieve together. And if you're not already in our Facebook group,
Yeah, come join.
come and hang out with us. And the link for that is below as well. There is so much support, love.
Yeah, it's growing
Generosity.
fast. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. So
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
until next episode, big love from both of us. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.